Good afternoon, and welcome to All Faculty Day 2024. Yeah, these are reading glasses, so I'm gonna keep taking them off and on. My name is Denise Reilly, and I'll be your MC for this short portion of the program, and I'll be introducing the other speakers this afternoon. So we have our interim chancellor, we have our interim provost, sorry, Jeff, and we have our interim, it's on there, right? Vice Provost of Academic Affairs. So I'll introduce them. But I was told to start with door prizes because that's always a fun way to start. So we have door prizes for those of you that registered, and names were picked at random. And then I'll tell you at the end of our short program this afternoon, I'll tell you at the end how you can win more door prizes by the foundation. So, selected at random, do they have to be here? Yes, you have to be here. You must be present to win, so hopefully our first door prize, and it's a mystery prize, we really don't know what's in here, but we think it's good. So our first door prize, and we'll do them in between, so at least you have something to look forward to, is to Sean Hellman. Come on up, Sean! This feels like the Price is Right. It's a great way to start. Is Sean here? Wait, is she coming? There, she's there. Yes, right here. Give her a round of applause like the Price is Right. Sean can let us know what's inside. There's three more coming. But I have to keep to time, says Fitbit right now. So, I'm Denise Reilly. I'm your Faculty Senate President for this year and next year. And I decided I would start off our afternoon program of All Faculty Day with a few things. So first and foremost, let's see if I can get this going correct. There you go. So who am I? How do I represent you as faculty? And what are my goals for this year? So let's start with who am I? So I've got some pictures for you. Don't laugh at all of them. I know it took me on a trip down memory lane. So I start with a few photos. Yeah, I'm the one making my nickname was Mula as a kid. That means mule in Spanish, and that means stubborn, not something else. But I'm the little one up there. That's to show I come from pretty modest background and means. That's my first day of kindergarten in school, and I'll tell you about the rest. So, I'm not from here originally. I'm from California. I grew up in East Los Angeles, not a great area, and my mom doesn't even like me telling people that. She likes me to say we grew up in the Central Valley of California because that's where we moved in the second grade. So if you're not sure or familiar where that's at, the San Joaquin Valley is where all your oranges, your grapes, your pistachios, almonds, and avocados come from. So that's where I grew up in the Central Valley, and that's where I went to school. My early influences are my parents. You'll see a picture of them momentarily, just as most of us are. So my dad comes from conservative, Jesuit Catholic background and middle class. So my grandfather was a doctor in the Navy, so he spent a lot of time in Guam and traveling all over Asia as a child. So a product of that. And when you think Jesuit Catholic, we're talking my grandpa went to Loyola Marymount, and it was a very interesting, unique background. So yes, I grew up very Catholic. On the other side of the spectrum, my mom grew up in Cananea, Mexico, which is just down south of the border from Naco and Douglas. She's one of 7, and she's the oldest female of 7 in poverty. So the difference was extreme, and I'm not sure I recognized that so much until I got a little bit older and realized I could navigate just about any social circle. So going to visit my family at Christmas was make sure you have lots of blankets and don't go to sleep with the gas heater on because there isn't any insulation in the house. On the other side of the spectrum, I grew up visiting my grandparents and great-grandparents at the country club. So make sure you have a jacket and tie on, or your boyfriend does at least. So it's very different. From my dad, and I'll show you a picture in a moment, but from my dad, I learned that education doesn't just come in the classroom. So he was one to travel because he had the privilege of traveling as a young child, and he loved nature. So we were always outdoors doing something outside. From my mom, on the other hand, I learned discipline. Do not leave the kitchen table until your homework's done because work comes before play. So my mom was the one to teach me that all free educational opportunities you have to take advantage of in school. So think every spelling bee, every science fair project you can imagine, every dance class that was free, Anytime I could compete, be in a theater, be on a stage, whatever it was, I was going to do it, because if it was free through the school, I was allowed. So that was okay. So I bring this up now as I'm not sure my multicultural heritage really, I don't know, I realized what an imprint it left on me until a little bit later. So my senior year in high school, I was very excited. I'll give you the next slide. So you can see a little bit more. So that's my very nuclear family right there. I'm a middle child of 3 girls there, and that actually I grew up in that house, and it was on Orange Grove Avenue. I also took advantage of competition, cheer, but my senior year in high school, my parents said, "You're not going to the university." And I said, "Why? I have the grades, I have the GPA, all my friends are going to Fresno State, Sonoma State, USC. We don't have the money for it, so you're going to community college." I was mad. I was really mad. I did not want to go to community college because I thought, why? Why do I have to go there? So I spent my first year at community college in California, and then when I finally moved here, I went to Pima Community College. I did very well here and realized that U of A was going to be my landing spot. So I got my degree from U of A, later from NAU. Okay, so I think that's enough about my background here, but now, how do I represent you now that you know a little bit about where I come from? So I'm a graduate of U of A. I'm also a graduate of NAU. That's where I got my counseling degree. I show these pictures because this is what my life is like now, but the way I represent you, I started teaching in '99, so this is my 24th year in education, so I'm a career educator, but I haven't always been just in the classroom teaching one subject. So I started teaching Spanish, psychology, and sociology in high school, but I also taught world history, global studies, student council, dance, cheerleading, you name it, I did it. Jack of all trades, master of none. I enjoyed every minute of it. So I had a passion from my first year teaching. I loved it, so I decided to take every professional development class you can imagine, and then I started training teachers in my 3rd year teaching. I loved it so much, but decided that the students were coming in and eating up all my lunch and after school and before school time with their personal problems. So I became a counselor and worked with them in counseling. I worked with at-risk students, I worked with the high achievers, and I was the Saturday school teacher for 16 years. Those of you that know the movie Breakfast Club, literally I was the Breakfast Club teacher once a month for 16 years. Nothing fazed me, nothing bothers me, nothing really bothers me to this day because I can handle that. So at this time I say, I was an adjunct at Pima Community College. I taught psychology at the Northwest campus from 2004 to 2010 because I loved teaching and I was afraid to leave the classroom when I became a counselor. Then I got hired here in 2016, so this is my 8th year full-time at Pima College. I was hired as educational support faculty, and at this point, I got ingrained in the next environment, and that's here. So as you can see some of these photos here, I got ingrained in my counseling role. I became a Phi Theta Kappa advisor. I was a faculty senate representative. When the reclassification of counselors came along, I became a dedicated career counselor, but then when the STU faculty position opened up, I jumped on it. As I got the STU faculty position, I was asked to be the governing board representative, and I said, no, find anybody else, anyone. I don't want to do this. And they said, come on, you can do it. I spent 2.5 years being your governing board representative and speaking truth to power, and it was not an easy job, I can tell you. Times are a little bit different now, but I sat through tumultuous meetings, I sat through some difficult times, and I played a difficult role, but I'm so proud that I did that because it was the tough part here. So now I say, as your faculty president, I hope that I continue doing the hard work that you expect of me. I hope that I continue to serve you well, and I hope that by knowing a little bit about my educational background, that you understand I'm here for the students. I'm a huge supporter of community college. I think it has the power to change lives. No, I didn't think that in my first year when I was forced to go to community college by my parents, but I do know that now. And so a few of these pictures also show the people that inspire me. So you see myself and some students at Cochise College, you see my boss or department head, you see some of my other fabulous officer colleagues and colleagues of the college, and then yes, I even dress up in Pima themes for Halloween. So my last thing I wanted to show you, I kind of went out of order, sorry. So Culminating this all together, I do want to say that I still love the classroom as I did as a child. That comes from my mom. I still love the nature and the outdoors because anytime I'm off work, I want to be, like many of you, off the grid, not on a computer, not answering emails. I want people to think I'm like not alive anymore. So this is where I spend my time. I have my children, and I did want to mention too, I'm such a supporter of public education that my kids go to public school. My kids are teenagers, can't believe that now, one's driving, at Marana High School, and they are taking advantage, just like my mom made me take advantage of stuff, they are taking advantage of dual enrollment opportunities and everything they can in school, or at least I like them to. So, last thing I want to share with you is the goals I have for this year. Collegiality among divisions and disciplines. Oftentimes we work in silos. We have different campuses, we have different disciplines and divisions, and we don't know what anyone else is doing at all times. And it's really hard to have the time to do that. So I'm hoping that we get to know each other a little bit better. Number two, my dad spoke in idioms all the time, so I think I have a habit of doing that. So when I say finger on the pulse, I mean I want to be aware of what's going on. I want to be aware of policy changes. I watch board meetings. I watch study sessions. I pay attention. I join the committees, I think, that are going to move the needle. And the last one is a continuation of the last few years with my fabulous officer team, which I'd be remiss if I didn't announce them, and I see some of them right up here. Thank you. And you're not even heckling me, which is good. So Rita Lennon, Kelly O'Keefe, Maggie Golston, and Sean Mendoza, we have had the goal of shared governance and transparency for years. So to continue with that goal of making sure that we as an institution and faculty have a voice, we're listened to, and when things come down the pike that are related to us, that we will hopefully be aware of that when it comes and have input for that. So that is all I have for you. And I will next introduce, let me see if I missed anything else. No, thinking I got all that here. I will introduce our next speaker, which is our interim chancellor. I think I'm supposed to, there we go. Dr. Dolores Durán-Cerda. Give her a warm welcome.
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. How are we doing? Doing great? Yeah? Excited about All Faculty Day? Yes. Well, me too. And I miss being among all of you. I miss being in the classroom too. But let's give it to Denise for her words of wisdom and her background and sharing her goals. I think that was fabulous. Before I go on, happy International Women's Day. Yes. Well, I'm so happy to be here joining all of you. And, you know, in the college, as we talk about new initiatives and policy changes, demographics, national issues affecting higher education, there's one thing that should never change at Pima College, and that's the faculty. Faculty in the classroom is the heart of everything we do at Pima College. I spent 27 years in the classroom, and I do miss it. But I truly love our students. I love what you do. I remember grading. I remember all of it. And I just thank you. I'm grateful for everything that you do every day for our students, for our learners, and working with the community as well. And I know that our board is also very supportive of you. They're very different, but they're so committed to Pima College and are advocates for all of you and for our students and community. You are passionate, you're committed faculty, and that is our competitive advantage over other institutions. And you are the heart of our purpose-driven mission, which is empower every learner every day for every goal. We take our students from wherever they're from, whatever their background is, their knowledge, their previous education or no education, and we take them so they can finish their goals. And you've heard me probably say this before. We want to be student ready instead of expecting students to be college ready. And you do that every day. And there's no bigger influence on student retention than faculty. I know we all do this. I remember doing this myself the first day of classes, try to memorize my students' names because that makes it such more of a sense of belonging difference for our students. If they miss a class or two, I'd call them or send them an email, direct them to student services, or have them come to my office hours, or guide them to the tutoring center, just so they know that we know that they're important to us and they're an individual person. We had the Futures Conference this morning, and we had, some of you were probably there here at West Campus, and it was being live streamed or online, and I think it was Tal Sutton and others who were talking about knowing the students, and also Josie Milliken, Dean of Pima Online, talking about being aware of the individual student, who they are as a person and not just as a number. And that makes us very different from other institutions. So you are not only a faculty member for our learners, but you're also a mentor, offering guidance and support to navigate through their academic and personal challenges, perhaps. You're role models. They bring their hopes and dreams to the classroom, and you help them navigate through all of that. And you create a safe place for them, a sense of belonging. You truly inspire students to set goals, to conquer obstacles, and to strive for excellence. And I know all of us can think of that one teacher, or more than one teacher, in our backgrounds, in our histories, who made a difference for us. So let's take a moment to think about who that was and how they led you to where you are right now. I'll give you a minute. You thought of them, remembered them, and how they made you feel welcomed and to pursue your goals? Finally, I'd like to go back to our speaker from the Falls All College Day. Do you remember Frederick Shegog? Yes, he was amazing. He had been homeless, he had been a drug addict with no direction, no hope, until a faculty member at a local community college saw something in him and that he hadn't even seen in himself. And now he's successful, has a career, a family, a purpose, and a new life, all because faculty members noticed him, took interest in him, and saw the talent he had. They were his coach, his mentor, they encouraged him. And I know that you also have that with your students. You can think of students that you've nudged, you've pushed a little bit, prodded, and make them understand that they can do it, they can achieve their goals. You do that every day. And you help build respect, dignity, caring, and equity and self-esteem for them. So thank you for your passion. Thank you for your dedication and for your work to make our community and our world a better one. Thank you for being that leader for our learners and students. Muchas gracias.
Now for the door prize. We have did we find out what that other one was? Sean? Did you open that up? Oh, she was talking like in a classroom. Teacher called on her, sorry. What was in the gift card? Or what was it? Dinner where? For how much? I'm just curious. Sorry, I'm nosy. She didn't even look. It's $25, 6 different places. All right, so coming on down, our second raffle prize winner goes to randomly selected Dennis Just. Is Dennis here? Woo, come on down. Dennis, weren't you on a game show before as well? Like not The Price is Right, but what was it? What was it called? Superhuman, right here. Give him a round of applause. I remember seeing that at All College Day. Do you guys remember that? You have like some superhuman talent, right? Was it picking, oh, he's so embarrassed right now. Was it picking something out with numbers? Okay, he's gonna go deep into that one. Anyways, our next speaker is, oh, sorry, this is like my boss. Our next speaker is Dr. Jeff Thies, who is our acting provost. Give him a warm welcome. Oh, goodness, I'm sorry. He's the Provost and Executive Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs. Here we go.
Thank you. And I'm on stage, so I'm acting. All right, got that out of the way. Excuse me. What a wonderful day to be able to participate in one of the events that I always enjoyed as a faculty member, where you get to come together and learn from each other about new and innovative ways to improve the student learning experience. So who knows what the theme of today is? Shout it out. Say that again. Moving the needle. What does moving the needle mean to you, right? Think about that for a second. So moving the needle to me is something that's noticeable and positive. Now, mathematically speaking, that doesn't mean the trend or the slope has to be positive. That just means the effect on student success has to be positive. And you'll see an example of that as we come forward. But one of the updates I wanted to provide, kind of with that moving the needle theme, is I know there's some challenges out there with the concept of our new academic leadership. So I just wanted to give you an update with where we are with respect to the academic leadership team. They met yesterday. So just a kudos and a thank you to the faculty that are here or maybe couldn't attend today that are on that team. They've been doing incredible work. I know it's not an easy task that that's been put upon them, but I know they have been working very closely with Nina to move the needle on next steps so that our goal of making sure that we leave in May on our last day of faculty accountability with a clear knowledge of who the academic leadership is, the type of support they're going to have moving forward in that particular structure. So if you have any questions about that, I'm happy to answer them as we're walking in between sessions the rest of this afternoon. I'm not on that particular committee, so my knowledge is kind of 30,000 foot of the great work that they're doing, but specifically there's information there that we can share, and happy to provide more details on that. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my upbringing. Next slide. Oh, that's me. So, as you can see, that one didn't hit as well, did it? I understand. I'm going to jump right into the data because that's the stuff that I really like to talk about. You had the storyteller first, the data guy second. I think in the future we need to switch that order. One of the things that's when we talk about moving the needle on student success, looking at the student cohorts, we have what we call the voluntary framework of accountability. So what you see up there is some of that data. We also talk a lot about leading and lagging indicators, right? When we look at our institutional targets, 1 and 2, that are part of our current strategic plan, it's about students completing. But how do they get there? What's the student journey on the way there, right? And so the voluntary framework of accountability provides us an opportunity to take cohorts and track their progress with the lens of a community college. And when I say with the lens of community college, I'm referencing that part-time lens, right? Because oftentimes, historically, we would use IPED's data, and IPED's data was created for universities. It thinks everybody's an 18-year-old, well-to-do freshman that's going to show up and not work and take 15 credits, right? We know that's not our population. So when we were looking at the numbers, we were looking at graphs such as this. I'm sliding a little bit to the left. So when we're talking about moving the needle, we had some really great momentum coming off of a lot of the work that all of you have done right before COVID. So when you look at the first three vertical bars, except for that second cluster, and I'll talk about that second cluster in a second, you can see that we had that momentum. We were moving the needle. It's noticeable just from where you are, even if you can't read the little white digits that are inside the bar, right? The first three, the darker blue, there's notable progress, right? Earning 6 credits in that first semester, not necessarily everybody's full-time. We know that, 70%, right? And then as you move across, you see those first 2 to 3, the darker blue, we were progressing in a positive, noticeable, move the needle space. COVID happened, and it happened to everybody, right? So that's not a just us issue. And so we kind of flattened out depending on the metric you're looking at. And so we have some challenges, trying to dig out of that. And just so for some background, this cohort data takes a while to track, so that's why it's only updated up to I think, fall 21's cohort, so that gives you a 2-year look back on how those students have done. But this just gives you a great opportunity to see the type of leading indicators, the type of things we're tracking to make sure that students are having these experiences. And that second cluster, this is not where we want to see positive growth, and unfortunately we have. The first term, no success, right? Part-time student takes 1 class, takes 2, takes 5. Our average student takes 8.7 credits. It's an average, you really can't take 8.7. So anywhere between 8 and 9 credits, and they have no success. So they come here thinking they're going to get something, and they leave for various reasons. We know the data says a lot of our students withdraw for life happened, right? So there's a lot of conversations about how can we interject ourselves into life happened. But really focused on that piece of that first semester, first term experience. When a student has no success, that's kind of my guiding light, right? What can we do institutionally to make sure that students receive what they expect on their end, but also have all the support mechanisms around to take advantage of your wonderful courses as they move through that first semester. So moving the needle is something you're going to be doing today, right? This afternoon, you've got 3 options to think about what's happening. Day-to-days, who's presenting on what they've already worked out in day-to-days, right? We've got some work from BCT, or CAD area. We've got some work from other areas. I think, who else is? Yep, accounting, thank you very much. So some great opportunities to see your colleagues and how they've used day-to-days and the conversation about course success and CLOs to move the needle on student success. Obviously, AI and technology is an ongoing opportunity. The opportunities to learn more about open ed resources, right? Making that financial barrier a little more attainable for students by using open ed resources. Opportunities to think about your pedagogy from a culturally relevant or culturally responsive perspective. The R changes depending on what I look at, but I think for here it's responsive. Is that correct, Elliot? Thank you. So just a lot of great opportunities to help us move these needles in the correct direction. And I look forward to being in the sessions with you this afternoon and hope you have a great rest of the afternoon and a wonderful weekend. Sun's coming out. Get out to the Tucson Book Festival if you get a chance. Thank you.
Are there any other plugs that we need? The book festival, anything else? Nope. A tattoo expo this weekend? There's also a tattoo expo this weekend. Anything else? I feel like this is open forum at a faculty senate meeting here. Okay, so let's go with our next door prize. Dennis, though, do you want to share what you got? Just curious. To the same, okay. So we're not leaving the rest of them a mystery. We're thinking these are gift cards to restaurants. So our next one, I think I'm kind of a phonetics expert most of the time because I used to be a Spanish teacher, but this one is throwing me for a loop here. And I didn't ask in advance, but I think who this person is because they actually have a visual in meetings sometimes. So this next gift card goes out to, if I botch it, you're just gonna correct me anyways. Greg Lemieux? Greg Lemo, that's it. Give him a round of applause. Where is Greg? Greg L. See, if he was my student, I would say, by the second class, I'll get it right, I promise you. And then if I mess it up, he'd tell me. All right, he's like back in the far one for The Price is Right. So let's give him another round of applause as he runs down. At the end of the day, I'll get this right, Greg Lumo. So, wait, there was something else I was gonna share. Oh no, he's ready, he's pacing. Okay, so I'll introduce, and look, I'm actually looking at the name now, so I won't mess this up. I just found out, by the way, so I was thinking about alumni. I did not know that Dr. Michael Parker is also an alumni. He's also a lumberjack and a wildcat. So let me introduce next Dr. Michael Parker, Vice Provost for Academic Affairs, Acting. Come on down.
Thank you, Denise, and welcome everybody to All Faculty Day 2024. So, before I crossed to the dark side in 2018 and became an administrator, I was the last full-time humanities faculty at Pima Community College. And hard it is to believe, Pima Community College paid me to talk to people about literature, art, and movies. Something I would have likely done for free, but somehow I was able to talk my way into a job and spend my time doing that. So I tell you that, one, it looks like some of the administrators here looking back nostalgically on their time as faculty. I'm going to do a little bit of that today, and hopefully that frames for you what I'm going to do here. So the first thing maybe you notice is that I put All Faculty Day in quotes. So with that, I'll begin. Now here's a phrase, and I should cite my sources. My writing faculty colleagues will tell you have to cite your sources. This comes from our assurance argument, criterion 1. And what I'm going to ask you to do is take a look at that sentence and tell me if you notice anything interesting or unusual about it. And of course, I do. You know, the answer isn't going to be, no, there isn't anything interesting or unusual. Next slide, please. I think that there is, but I want you to see if you see anything interesting or unusual about it. And whenever you have the answer, just call out. Unanswer, not the answer. Right, those are rare these days, right? No new hires. The college signed. What about the college signed? It signed an intergovernmental agreement, but Pima Community College. Okay, perhaps I've been too obscure here, and I'm going to have to answer my own question after all. Elliot. Ah, yes, yes, we think alike. So could you unpack that a little bit? Here I'm going to continue to play instructor, English instructor. Didn't realize it had opposable thumbs. Tell me about that. Ah, exactly, right? That's part of our language all the time. The college did this, the college did that. But really, who do you think probably signed it, given the document and the time frame? The chancellor, right? But we say instead the college signed it. So that is figure of speech. What figure of speech is that? Personification, thank you. The M.E.d team here to help me. Right, exactly, personification. So we think about an organization like Pima Community College. It's a collection of a bunch of people, but we personify it. We personify it because it helps us imagine what it does, right? Or why else? I mean, why else would we do that? Personify it. And this one, I genuinely don't have the answer. I have some answers, but I don't have the clear answer. Why would you personify something? What's that? Encourage empathy, exactly. Or humanize it. We want to humanize these things. And you'll see this manifested in other places, right? We have college behaviors. Yes, Eric?
I think legally it also means that you can sue them, right? That's what the corporation.
Ah.
And that's why corporations have free speech rights, because we have this fictitious, they are fictitious persons, right? That's what incorporation means.
Right, exactly. Corporate actually if you go back to the Latin roots, all right, somebody's going to have to get the hook and pull me off the stage here pretty soon. But it comes from Latin for body, right? You have a corporation, which is an organization, but we think of it as a body, a human body. And I swear to God, Eric and I did not rehearse this before, but I'm going to lead you somewhere. Did any of you see a movie called The Corporation in about 2000-something? Okay, trust me, there was a movie called The Corporation in the 2000s, early 2000s, and it appears in my dissertation, so if you're interested in reading that dusty tome, it's the opening of my dissertation which is about the Gothic and capitalism. And I thought, oh my God, this is fortuitous, because there's a movie called The Corporation, and it begins and it says, let's take this idea of corporate personhood seriously. And it said, and then it's, you know, gives the behavior traits of corporations, and it gives it to these clinical psychologists and say, okay, diagnose the corporation. What kind of person is it? What do you think they came up with? Exactly. You all saw the movie. You didn't tell me. It is a psychopath. The corporation is. Let's take that corporate personhood, that personification seriously. It is a psychopath. Now, I'm going to go to the next slide, because I'm eventually setting you up to do something with the word faculty, but you'll find that the faculty are also, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. What are the two senses of the word faculty? Psychopath, exactly. Psychopath and saint. Those are the two forms of faculty that we have. What are the two senses of that word if I say faculty? Singular and plural, but not distinct plural, right? A collective body. So, exactly, two senses of the word faculty. So if we do the same thing that the directors of the movie, The Corporation, did and said, here's corporate behavior. Here's how this legal fiction of a person behaves. It's a psychopath. How do you think faculty behave? I mean, we've already gotten, there's a dichotomy, that your faculty could be psychopaths or saints. But I thought, if we were to take that seriously and think about faculty as a body, the personification of this group, and then we were to say, today is the most physical, visible manifestation of you all, individual faculty, as a faculty group, and say, what sort of person do we end up with if we look at today's program? And here's what I came up with, based upon what the presentations are today. You are curious, seeking to learn from data to better understand students and best serve their needs. Excuse me. While you are all certainly members of the academy, you are anything but academic. What do I mean by that? Huh? Sterile? If somebody says, if you bring up a point to somebody and they say to you, oh, that's just academic, are they paying you a compliment? No. What are they saying? You don't understand the real world. So while you all are members of the academy, you are not academic. You are breaking down that false dichotomy between the classroom and the real world, and very literally engaging in the burning issue of the day, climate change. That's one of the things that you're looking at. You are empathetic, imagining and valuing. I guess I can look at this here too. You are empathetic, imagining and valuing your students' experiences and perspectives. We see that in the presentation that Karma Cueva is giving. You said you start out with data analysis, but then you try to imaginatively place yourself in the role of students. And with a combination of those two things, you can get good results. You work to unlock minds. And here, again, the sort of literary teacher, Denise has got the hook. You work to unlock minds and create environments that are open and inclusive, and that's me paying close attention to the metaphors that appear in these titles. And as a faculty, you are much greater than the sum of your individual selves. So when I was faculty humanity at the West Campus, I could tread a very narrow path between the north parking lot, my office, and the third floor of the J building, where I got to talk to students about the Book of Job, or Coen Brothers movies, or the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass, that fortunate former self that I look back wistfully upon. But think about that. Here you are together, not as individual faculty walking to your office and teaching your courses, but as a group. And as a group, you are something much greater than you are individually. So, Denise has got the hook, and I said she gets the valedictory remarks, even though I'm lost. Slide there. So go forth, learn, and benefit from your collective wisdom.
Well, we were running ahead of schedule, just joking. So we realized Jeff got you laughing, Michael got you laughing, Dolores and I were like, what are we? So anyways, now I know what comedians are like when they're like, oh, they don't laugh at me. No wonder I'm not getting the award show gift. So, no, we think that Michael Parker is going to be your MC next year because we just kept hearing laughing back there. So, gift card, because that's the only thing I've got here. So for the last door prize, ooh, I think I know how to pronounce this name. We got it. We have Randall Brookshire. He's at my campus, so I know him. Business. Kind of want to know what restaurants, but whatever. Oh, he's going to tell me. But before that, just want to know a few things. So thank you so much for coming. But because, I didn't have anything super exciting here going on, what I do want to know, we're going to send you a survey next week, and I know you're going to break out into all these great sessions, and hopefully you'll enjoy the day. Before that, I want to get a little bit of active participation here to get you to answer the questions in the survey. So one thing I'd like to ask you now, and maybe think about it, and then turn to a partner and give your response to them. So the question being, do you like all faculty day more in January at the beginning of the semester, right before classes start, or do you prefer all faculty day to be in the middle of the semester, like March? Think about it, turn to a partner, go for it. Okay, now we didn't have control over all faculty day this year, but I will just get a show of hands, because this will be one of the survey questions, one of the easy survey questions. How many of you prefer January, beginning of the semester, like get all hyped up, great. How many of you prefer later on, like March and a half day? Oh, about split. No gift cards for that, but just curious. Okay, so I do want to end with a few things before you head out to breakout sessions, and thank you so much to all those presenting, and we hope you have an enjoyable day. This is a QR code, so I will ask you, or we will ask you, as you take a look at the sessions and everything going on, if you go into additional notes in there, you will see there's a space to upload photos. So like even right now, if you're sitting with your favorite people right there, you could take a group selfie. No, not me, Keith, stop. But if you could take a picture of yourselves enjoying yourselves at all faculty day and upload it, oh, what's to come? It might be playing at our next faculty senate meeting. So enjoy the rest of your time. Kate, am I missing any? Stop taking photos up here. Okay, I'm like not here. Kate, am I missing anything else for the group? For the good of the order? Okay, there should be a map, there should be some great, oh, see, look at them. Like that's what we want to see, little group action there. Okay, so please send us your photos, having a great time at All Faculty Day, whether next year it's in January or March or some other time. And thank you to all the presenters. Thank you guys for coming, and we'll see you later. Anything else? That's it? Okay, have a great one.